Okay, so the truth about being a brown girl. Disclaimer, this is my point of view and my perspective, and there's so many different perspectives, so disclaimer there, but we'll get started. So the first thing about being a brown girl growing up in North America is you definitely feel like you're living two lives. So for me, I have like one life where, when I'm working, when I'm talking in English and, behaving in a certain way, that's one part of my life. And then another part of my life is when I'm at home and I'm speaking in my native language and I'm just being ghetto, and just by ghetto I mean I'm just not really thinking about like being so perfect, and I'm just, um, just trying to be more relatable to that culture. So I think a lot of brown girls feel that way, where they have two different lives that they're living, and it's almost like you're two different people. And I don't know how to explain it, but that's definitely how I feel. I feel like it's not like where one part I'm really great and I'm a good person and other person I'm not. It's like in both lives I'm professional, like for like like at home I'm, whether I'm paying the bills or taking care of certain things, or whether I'm at work and I'm behaving in a different way, behaving in professionally. I feel like both are professional. It's just two different lives. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just every brown girl probably will attest to this, that they're living two different lives. And yeah, I think we would make great agents and spies because we're already used to it. But yeah, it's not like we're hiding anything. It's just so different. It's just so different. And I think even just being a person, a child of immigrant, they can definitely attest to this as well. So the second thing, the truth about being a brown girl, I feel like when you're a girl and you're a person of color, you always compare yourself to whatever the beauty standards is. I feel like we're so lucky now where it's there's more accepting of what beauty means and what is considered beautiful or attractive. So we're so grateful, and I think we still have more work to be done. But I think when I was first growing up, when I was really young, it was definitely like I was a 90s baby, where what they considered was beautiful is, very does not represent me. I didn't have, blonde hair, blue eyes, even straight teeth. I didn't have braces. So the lighting just went out. Oh no. Okay, we're gonna get better lighting. We're gonna find better lighting. Okay, here we go. Because I don't want to edit this. So yeah. So I think when you're a brown girl, you're always comparing yourself to other girls, and you're comparing yourself to other brown girls as well. Like, there's a stigma in the brown community where it's like if you're lighter skin, which is considered more attractive. So I think when I was growing up, I was, when it comes to skincare, even, I wasn't thinking about like, obviously like acne and taking care of acne and taking care of your skin. That's so important. But I was also thinking like, oh, how can I make my skin lighter, or how can I, make it represent this way? So those are some of the, or like even being less hairy, things like that. Those are some of the struggles that brown girls had to grow up with. So that's one. Another truth about a brown girl is that they're definitely way more, I would say, aware of what the world is around them. Like, I feel like I know what, I'm aware of different cultures, different backgrounds, and different worlds other than my own. And I think it's just them taking the time to understand that, there's more to this world, and, that they're so insignificant that it forces them to look at so many different arrays of the world. Or at least for me, that's how I felt. I feel like that's why I'm so drawn to like arts and you know, because I just feel like there's so many different walks of life, and it's so interesting, and that's what makes the world beautiful and work together. Another thing about brown girls is that they love food. They're not gonna settle for boring food. Like, they're not gonna go get a burger with like ketchup and mustard only. They're gonna want toppings. Like, we grew up with flavor. Like, we grew up, no offense to anybody, but like, I have high expectation of my food. Like, I want it to taste good. Every time I'm taking a bite, I'm not just taking a bite to eat. I'm taking a bite to, I'm comparing. I'm my own like food critic. I watch way too many Food Network not to be. So I think like every brown girl, they have expectation of the food. Like, they want it to taste and live up to the standard of that. That is our only joy. I'm stereotyping so much. But yeah, I think that's one thing. I think also brown girls are so diverse. Like, there's so many diverse brown girls. I think in the media, they only portray like, oh, brown girls is like this one stereotypical person, like nerdy brown girl who's like a rebellion sort of thing. And and there might be those brown girls, but there's so many different brown girls. There's so many different walks and backgrounds of the lighting. You see how much of a difference the lighting makes? That it's like there's so many different like lives and stories of brown girls. No one two brown girls are the same. So when we look into media, we can't really like, we kind of like get upset because there's not too many representations of brown girls. And so when you see a representation on the media and you're like, oh, but that sucks, that's not like me, that's not, doesn't represent like my values or like who I am as a person or what I would do or what would happen to me. So I think that that's something that we struggle with. So I think that there should be more representation. It's kind of like the same thing, like you know, like that side character where they hire like the, you know, stereotypical you know, the funny, you know, the black friend, or the funny Asian character is always smart. You know, it's very stereotypical, and I feel like there's so many different arrays of lights and versions, and I love that, you know, I'm getting to see the change and seeing the witness, and I still feel like there's so much more to that. Okay, another truth about brown girls. I feel like at one point we've dyed our hair because we just have to, like every brown girl that I know have gotten blonde highlights. They colored their hair. We need to. The black hair, I love the black hair, but it's always fun to experiment. And yeah, and there's like this stereotypical thing where like brown girls only want like they're always dating white boys, and I think it's part of like, oh, like brown girls for so long have to be like, oh, they have to get arranged marriage so that when they get like some sort of freedom, they're like, oh, we're gonna do the total opposite. But I don't think every brown girl is only dating white guys. I don't think that's the truth. I think, again, that's like a stereotypical thing where there's so much more to that. Another truth about being a brown girl is that a lot of brown girls do have dark eyes, and I sometimes wish, like, what if I had green eyes, what if I have brown eyes? So the eyes is like a big thing with brown girls. It's like, oh man, if I had this type of eye color, it would make all the difference, it would change my life. So again, appearance thing that does come into effect. I think being a brown girl, you also feel like you have to play such a role in family, like being like a leader in your family, or whether you're being like you know, taking care of your family. So that plays a very important role as well, like where you're expected to kind of take care of your family and you're expected to be like the nurturing type. That I don't see as strong and I do see that in every other types of cultures, but it's, I feel like, so much prominent in the brown culture. And also another thing is like when people would say, oh, you're a brown person, there's so many different countries in South Asia, there's so many different types of languages, different religions, there's so many different types of brown people. So like one stereotype will not do. It's it kind of hurts, actually, to be honest, when someone's like, oh, you know, they assume like I'm this religion or I'm this type of person, or I speak this language, and it kind of hurts because it's like a lack of awareness, and it kind of hurts that, you know, you're not being represented. So anyway, what about more about brown girls? I feel like brown girls definitely had experimentational stages, whether it be like with their clothing or with whatever. Like they always like they try to experiment with different types of things. Like they try to, like, I've had stages where I experiment with clothes or with my look, because you just want to like who am I? Like you always question like who am I? So you're kind of trying to identify like who you are as a person. I feel like yeah, it's definitely, I cannot just do one video about what it means to be a brown girl. There's so much more to it. There's so many stigmas and so many stereotyping and so many, you know, like the mustache thing where it's like, it's, you know, like hairy, and there's so many stereotypes, there's so many things that has to be uncovered, and I want to uncover as well. So there'll be more videos, don't worry. Also, so when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of people like who were same background as me. So I had trouble, you know, making friends, because I didn't have a lot of people that a lot of girls who were the same background or the same, you know, thing like religion or as me. So I kind of stood alone, and I didn't really get accepted into a lot of brown cultures even. So being that said, I kind of had to still be like, you know, part of me hated like, oh, but I'm brown, my skin is brown, why am I not being expected? Like, we are a minority in this country, like why aren't we all together? But you kind of forgive them, and you realize that we're still minority and representation matter, and we will take any type of representation. So that's another thing. I think that yeah, I think that there's more videos to cover, but that's for now. Definitely interesting being a brown girl, I'm not gonna lie, but I'll make more videos to come. But until then, we'll see you next time. And this little brown girl is out. Yes, I just quoted Liza Koshy. Bye.